everyone. Welcome to another new episode on There's More to Be Done. My name is Anam, and I'm a psychology enthusiast. Over the years, I've been able to develop a toolkit of strategies that have helped me create the kind of life I dreamt about, and I'm here to share them with you so that you can create yours. Today, I'm going to talk about having difficult conversations and why do we end up avoiding it due to self preservation. In the last episode, I covered a little bit about this topic, where I mentioned how we as humans are naturally accustomed to avoid pain as a part of self preservation. We're constantly trying to do better, and of course, a part of that means that we're going to make mistakes. And others are also going to make mistakes with you. They're going to disappoint you, and you're going to disappoint other people. The key is not to let this become a stereotype for you. If someone hurts you, it does not mean that everybody who's remotely showing similar characteristics or falls under the same type of personality is going to hurt you. Believe it or not, everyone wants to connect with the next person and wants to be liked. Everyone is internally really desperate to be the person that lights up the room. Everyone craves that emotional connection where they can be vulnerable with somebody and they can trust them, somebody they can depend on. You're not alone feeling that way. In fact, when people do behave or engage in negative behaviors like tearing others down, gaslighting others, backstabbing, playing politics, and things on those lines, it's because they want to move up in some place and they think there is only space for one person there. Our society has always promoted the pyramid structure where there is only one space at the top. And so our society has conditioned us to believe that it is survival of the fittest, that everybody else will have to fail. There is no other choice. And this is why people engage in these negative behaviors because they think that's the only way to survive and they do it out of self preservation. They do it because as human beings, we all have insecurities. And sometimes those insecurities, they become really loud, louder than our instinct to help each other. And when in crisis, our body always goes to the most basic instinct of fight or flight mode. The question then becomes, do you want to fly with this next person to soar to new heights? Or do you fear and you want to hurt them and run away from them, stay as far as possible? The fight or flight reaction is the most basic instinct we have since our evolution. It activates so unconsciously that the moment we feel slightly threatened or uncomfortable, and the only way that we see we can control the situation is through fight or flight. So, knowing that the fight or flight system has activated, recognizing it, and knowing how it feels will help you create an interruption. And when you create an interruption and you alter the perception of the situation by taking a pause, that'll help you avoid it. The pause will help you decide whether this is actually, in fact, a fight or flight situation, or this is just a normal situation where there is no fight or flight required. This is the same reason why we fear rejection. It's the same reason why we fear commitment. It's the same reason why we avoid difficult conversations. Because these are tough situations where there is a very high probability that we can actually lose the other person at the end of the situation for good. And we're going to lose them not because they're not accessible, we're going to lose them because they chose to walk away. You feel abandoned, you feel rejected. because their behavior is indicating that they don't want to be with you. And we take that personally sometimes. We take that personally and we let it define our self worth. But what we fail to understand is that when the other person in this kind of a situation walks away, it doesn't have to always be about you. There could be multiple reasons that has nothing to do with you. It could be because their ego is bruised. It could be because you triggered a trauma and their instinct when that memory activates, it's to always choose flight and walk away. It could be that they feel overwhelmed, and the list goes on. If they're not meant to be in your life, you avoiding the conversation or the commitment or making any move due to fear of rejection just postpones their timeline of the inevitable. It would happen either ways, but because you have a fear of losing them, you avoid taking the necessary action due to self preservation. Having a difficult conversation is uncomfortable, but having someone cross your boundary is painful. Being vulnerable is difficult, but being misunderstood is hurtful. Your choice will decide the strength of your relationship. On the other side of having the courage to have these tough conversations is a more stronger relationship where you and the other person understand each other better. You've learned more about being a better friend, being a better partner. If you don't have the courage to fight your self preservation instinct, you'll be stuck in ambiguity that'll cause you to live in anxiety. And understanding these self preservation instincts will also help you see right through someone when they're using that as a defense mechanism. It'll help you address the important things that sometimes seemingly so small have huge impacts. So, next time you feel nervous about bringing up a topic, I hope you remember listening to this and taking a pause to recognize that the reason that you feel to procrastinate or avoid this conversation is because of your self preservation instincts. The most effective way that I have found to avoid self preservation instincts and have difficult conversation, whether at work or in personal life, is through a simple framework that I follow. My first step is taking a pause. I first assess the situation and think about, do I even need to have this difficult conversation? And once I do decide that, yes, it's necessary to have this conversation, I first start with communicating how much I value the person that I'm talking to. So, for example, if it's a colleague, I would start with, I hope you know that I really respect and enjoy working with you. And say, if it's a friend, I would say, you know that I really value our friendship and how important it is to me and how important you are to me. The second thing I do is I would go on to address the issue, starting with a sentence saying, because I value this relationship, there was something that was bugging me about what happened, and state the incident of whatever was bothering me. And always remember to mention that you understand that this might not have been their intention, but you felt hurt. You felt bad, irrespective of that. Once I've clearly communicated how the situation affected me and how I understand that it might not have been the intent, I then give them space to talk about how they saw the situation from their perspective. I don't interrupt. I don't have expressions that would deter them from finishing their version of the story. After they've completely finished sharing their piece, I would then go say, okay, this is where I'm at. And now that I understand your perspective, I think going forward, we should define a way or a space that can avoid this situation in the future. And then we brainstorm together. I ask them what is it that would work for them and tell them what I think works for me. And then we decide a middle ground together that suits both of us. Having going through the difficult conversation in this approach makes the other person also feel like you are invested in this as much as they are, or even more, and that you're willing to put in the effort to make this work. That makes them feel seen and heard. And if the other person values the relationship as much as you do, this will strengthen your relationship and you'll come out stronger. Now, I do need to give you a disclaimer here that it's very important to remember that if the person on the other side of this conversation is someone who doesn't value the relationship enough or is not invested in this relationship enough, they might call you dramatic, they might make you feel that you're making a mountain of a molehill. And if that happens, when that happens, that's okay. Because now you'll know that there is nothing that you do from your end that's going to affect this other person change how they feel. We need to understand and see it for what it is. You need to listen to people when they say that you're not right for them, or you're too much, you're too dramatic, or you're always misunderstanding them. This is good information because now you know whether this is a relationship worth your time and effort, or is it better to just walk away? Depending on the situation, either decisions are good decisions. But you need to understand when somebody doesn't care about what's important for you. You need to think about where you stand and where you want to go from there in that moment. And I really hope in moments like that, your self preservation does kick in because you are the sum of the people closest to you. And your self worth and your value needs to be prioritized. You're the sun in your life, and you don't need other people to shine light on you to be seen. We as human beings are damn resilient, and we underestimate how well we can do independently if our survival depended on it. So I really hope that the next time when you're in a situation where you can identify when your self preservation is kicking in, you take a pause and you lean into the fear. Communicate with people so that they can learn who you are and what's important for you. Because that will help you believe in yourself and your self worth. And it will allow you to filter out all the wrong people because the ones that are actually there, they're the ones who really matter. They're the ones who will cheer you, elevate you, help you follow your path, and applaud you when you shine. Please do let me know in the comment section of how you like this episode and if you have any questions regarding this topic or any other topics that I have shared in my podcasts. I'll be more than happy to answer them. For more content, you can follow me on TikTok and Instagram at There's More to Be Done or visit my blog at there'smoretobedone.blog. Links are in the episode description below. This is Anam, and I'll see you in 2 weeks. Keep learning, keep growing.